Welcome one, welcome all. We have a great NFL slate ahead of us. As always, I am joined by our guy Felix, former Millie Maker winner on DraftKings before. Man, how are you doing this week? How'd you do last week?
I actually did really well. Did say it was the week of the rookie running back, and we nailed that part. We missed out on trivia on Henderson's breakout week, but everybody else seemed to do really good this past week.
It was funny because I had I had Travion Henderson get a touchdown in the first quarter, and I was getting really excited. And then Omarion Hampton dropped 30 on us and
Yes.
stuff, and Genty went absolutely off. I mean, it really was the week of the rookie running back. It just wasn't the one rookie running back that I really wanted it to happen. But again, it's good to see we have a whole bunch of games to kind of settle into for the most part. Only one Monday Night Football game this week. I like it better when it's that way. Felix, I'm actually going to an NFL game for the first time in 2 years tomorrow.
I watched the college football show after the fact, so yeah, I did hear. I'm pretty. I haven't been to a football game myself in like 7-8 years now. So
no kidding.
Yeah.
It's always fun to go to. It's just it sucks when the team that you're going to be rooting for is 2 touchdown dogs, right? Like it's nearly what the Bengals are. But hey, I have a good feeling that we're both going to be liking some Lions later on in the show. That is the last game that we're actually going to be able to talk about. Just a 4:25 kickoff. I will not be doing the showdown show with Kurt tomorrow. It will be JSU on that one in place of me. But again, should be a good time ahead of us. We got plenty of games to get to. And Felix, we got a UFC main card, a main event basically, right? We get 2 main events, I think, wasn't it? 2 championship fights, I should say.
Yes.
Rera and, if I say the other dude's name, Big T would make fun of me, but Ankalev or whatever.
I
think a lot of people are going to be tuning into that. We'll try and get out here in under an hour. Sometimes it leaks over a little bit if I talk too much like I'm doing right now. But we'll try and get in and out in under an hour so people can go and watch the fights or just watch this on repeat in the morning or something like that. So you ready, Felix?
Let's do it.
All right. First game that we're going to be talking about is the Miami Dolphins going to Carolina here. If you have been living under a rock, Tyreek Hill's knee is done, and his tenure with the Dolphins is done with it as well. So what does that mean? Well, the pricing, that was a Monday Night Football game, so the pricing was kind of already out for the main slate. It means you're getting a too cheap Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, who is going to be one of the better plays now at 7,300. He's already been a great PPR back, especially on DraftKings with the way the scoring works for him, but gets even better with Tyreek Hill out. Malik Washington should be expected to take a nice leap forward. He's already had a ton of involvement in that offense. And Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, probably going to be that third wide receiver guy who could step up on the outside. Maybe Malik's role doesn't change too much. I'm very curious to hear what you have to say about it. We have Chuba out, right? So Chuba Hubbard is out for this one, which is why Rico Dowdle projects very high at 4,300. You got Bryce Young under 5K. Tet. We've been banking on Tet for a little bit now. This could finally be the week. But for the first game of the day, Felix, lots of good plays in this one. What's your read?
So this slate, I think, is heavily there's so many bad defenses on this slate. So I'm pretty excited about it. T-Mac, yes, I'm probably going to go down with this ship the entire season if he doesn't actually ever break out. But I do see him even more production this week with now losing Chuba. Rico Dowdle is not only not that much different than Chuba, so you're not going to lose that much production, I guess. And I think this is a big bump for Devon Achane in the passing game and Jalen Waddle. I do think it's more NHI versus Washington getting more work. I think Washington's more of the gadget guy. I think when we bring in Westbrook, it's going to be more what Tyreek did. And who knows? Maybe they bring somebody in. I just hope it's not Darren Waller. I thought the 2 tutties was a fake, but maybe I'm just like off by that.
I'm hoping the same exact thing. I think you're exactly right with Malik Washington's role kind of being a little bit more sustained, right? It's not going to improve too much without Tyreek, but it can't hurt, right? Like I think that's the one thing. You could get a little bit more volume as well. But it is one of those things where it's probably going to mean a lot of more snaps for Westbrook-Ikhine. I was not on Darren Waller on Monday Night Football, and that made me have a poor Monday Night Football slate. But yeah, he looked good. I'm kind of curious to see how he holds up over the course of a season, specifically. 2 touchdowns never hurts. I still think the workload is going to be a little bit limited. But yeah, I mean, this game, there's a lot to like. Like A-Chain's floor is going to be pretty incredible at 7,300. And, I do want to buy in on the Tet upside a little bit. We saw Garrett Wilson finally get going late. I think the Jets, I don't know if they attempted a pass into like the second quarter or something like that. They didn't need to throw the ball, which is crazy how they lost.
Right.
I mean, I thought they were the better team. I thought Fields was balling, so they just had some really untimely turnovers there that kind of cost them. On the Panthers side, I mean, did you want to talk any more about like Rico Dowdle specifically? I mean, at 4,300, how do we avoid that? Like, running back like that and a decent bit. I think it could be a chance at maybe 75% of the snaps.
I agree. This is where we can get down so we can pay other places. And Miami's defense has not, like I was saying, a lot of these defenses are terrible against the run and some against the pass, but like they're not good. Actually, both of these defenses, well, Carolina has done well at home, but that could just be a fluke. We don't really know that yet, but they're both not great. They both given up big gains to other teams. It's based off the start of the year when the Jags kind of went down the field, on them. But we'll see. I will be playing a lot of Rico with his price being so low.
And let's just go through this here real quick. Like, if you had to pick between Rico and then the Arizona guys, for example, it's Rico, right?
Yeah, it's Rico because like you don't like. They're saying they're going to go with the hot hand. So, like, you're literally just playing the roulette there. If you're going to think, I mean, you're playing black or red here because you don't know which one they're going to go with.
And there's a decent chance that neither one really gets there. And
if
I had to guess, it'll be DeMercado, but we'll get to that game a little bit later. P. Lally, man, it is Dosai. It's a Nepali holiday. I actually had to get dressed up a little bit today. I mean, this isn't really, I would not consider this dressed up, but it is the outfit I was wearing. I was not able to wear my Coors Light shirt that I was wearing yesterday to there. So, we had a festival today and stuff. But, lots of stuff. Rashad White, yes. We will get to the Rashad White stuff here in a little bit. Also, Broccoli Taco getting in some good mojo with Josh Hoover finally scoring for that TCU side. That is a rough-looking college football slate. And CTK mentions the Henderson's break has 12.6, and I've been pissed. Yeah, it was more Hampton and Genty, but
Genty and Woody Marks and
yes. Felix was being really nice to me since I was very high in Henderson last week. Yeah. But when he did the plural pronunciation, it definitely meant Genty and Hampton, and then he did throw in Henderson scoring to make me feel good. Right, that's all. Anyone else in this game, Felix, that you want to talk about before we move on to New York?
Xavier Legette hasn't had much playing time, and with maybe so much attention going to T-Mac and them losing when they lost Jatavian Sanders, maybe this is his get right game. That's like the one-off. That's the only thing I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice. I'll tell you this. What was it? Tommy Tremble and Mitch Evans both did really well. Who was in here last week? So
Jenna something said like, "What?" I'm like, well, if only if you think he's going to score. And like the first like red zone thing was him scoring a 30-yard touchdown.
Yes, I like, because the worst thing in the world you can do is I always want to be honest. I don't want to tell everyone's a good play, but it's like, man, I specifically said that wasn't a good play. That guy scored. Notre Dame's tight end. That is tight end university without a doubt. I think Evans went to ND too, and he had him and Tremble both do really well for the Panthers last week. With Sanders, I mean, God, he's going to be missing out again, right? So it's going to be Tremble. Is he still too cheap under 3K? Yeah, it's. I'm not going to chase it. I'm not.
You can't go back to back, or maybe he can. I don't know.
It's like me betting like individual games in tennis. So, I like to bet breaks on clay, and I'm going to stick with it, even if the server looks dominant, which is the stupidest thing I can do. That's a little too niche there. Let's go on and move from Carolina to New Orleans. This is the one game that it looks like New Orleans will be favored on the season. So I'm kind of shocked by this. I know that you probably watched the Chargers-Giants game. I watched the Chargers-Giants game. The Bengals were a Monday night game, so I got to kind of browse around a decent bit. Chargers getting beat like that was a little bit surprising. I think it was very surprising. Neighbors blowing out his knee going up for a jump ball on the right sideline was not great. And I feel like that's kind of influencing the odds a little bit here too. But it should be mentioned, I just think Jackson Dart looked like
Yeah.
an alpha, and he had a little bit of hammy trouble in the end of that first half, and I'm like, oh man, I wonder how he's going to look. He gutted it out, man. He got that win, and Scatabo with him too. It's another rookie running back that we didn't even mention off the rip there. You know, you mentioned Woody Marks and stuff too.
Oh yeah.
Scatabo right after. It's like Scatabo's touches, his floor is really good. Devin Singletary isn't going to be taken away too much from him. I mean, outside of those two guys, I mean, it's the same thing, right? Tyreek Hill was injured for the Dolphins, and we know who's going to get the bump. But for the Giants, Slayton and Wandale were already getting, tons of snaps, right? So who's going to step up and be that third wide receiver for this team? Jalen Hyatt, I don't know. Could it be more two tight end sets too? Like, Felix, talk to me about this game.
I was looking at the pick sixes earlier, and it's like Jalen Hyatt for like 13 yards, and I was like, yeah, if he gets one catch, maybe it's over 13 yards, but that's all it's, for that's going to take. But yeah, to me, it's just Dart, Scatabo. Honestly, I'm good there. If those are like the only two pieces I get out of that game, I'm okay with it. If we're going to talk about the other side, I'm okay with actually a lot of pieces. We've seen, a lot of points being scored on the Giants. Maybe not my Chargers, but we've seen other teams put up points on the Chargers or on the Giants. I think it could be like I don't know if it's a shootout, but I think I'm going to have a lot more Dart than I am going to have anybody else. It could be a lot of naked Dart, because I think if they do put up points and he doesn't see anybody to throw to, or if it's just a lot of Wandale Robinson, I think there's going to be a lot more rushes involved for Dart, a lot of play action, RPO for Scatabo and Dart. I don't know. I think see a lot of rushing for Dart this game.
And you mentioned it last week. I think I specifically mentioned Dart's number at 32, and you immediately, gut shot. That's way too low, right? Yeah. Dart went for 54 yards. I think he almost cleared that prop entirely in the first quarter. He had that one, big 15-yard run or whatever. And it's crazy to me because I think they have a clear identity too with Dart. I think you're right. If you're going to play him, it doesn't have to be with a wide receiver, specifically with Neighbors down. If you were to look at the last game, and the script could be very much the same, right? Like where they won by 3 against the Chargers, but they ran the ball 42 times as a team. Dart had 10 carries. Scatabo had 25. Singletary had 7. Scatabo, 25 carries, also 2 catches, 27 touches. I mean, that is just that's alpha numbers right there. And you know what? Not going to get much of a harder matchup than that Chargers team, where their weakness is through the air. They're weak. You can't really run the ball entirely well on them. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say the Chargers defense is elite, but I guarantee you this New Orleans matchup is going to be a little bit more kind. And if you're going to give me nearly 30 touches, Felix, sign me up for the Scatabo train all day. He is just going to be a guy I consistently plug in. The ownership is not high enough yet. I know that running back is so stacked, but I really want to throw caution into the wind where, you can spend $4,300 for Rico Dowdle, right? That's a good play. Hope to get 20 touches. You can do the same thing with Michael Carter, Rashad White, or Amari Dimercado, right? But you're nowhere getting near that ceiling with those guys. In my opinion, with those touches, right? One of those guys can do really well. But I'm telling you this, no one on the slate's going to get near the touches of Scatabo. Even just I'm just looking at that right now. I'm looking at all these names on this list right here.
Yeah.
Sign me up. My favorite play, maybe on the slate, could be my play of the day in the future. I'll play him with Dart. I don't need a wide receiver. I don't think Wandale's role improves. I think Slayton could be in for a good bump. Dart does does love to throw a little bit of a deep ball. Slayton went 3 for 44. He was their leading receiver last week. But again, I'm not going to go out of my way to do it. If I ran it back with people, Olave, right? Olave got steamed up last week, big time.
Yeah.
And
I heard a lot of analysts talking him up, so that is probably has something to do with it. And
all of a sudden, he gets a better matchup here. And look, I don't like picking against that Bills team at all, because the Bills can really grind games to a little bit of a halt. I mean, we saw 31-19. The New Orleans offense looked good. He went 3 for 20 and 1, right? Nothing impressive. But I'm not going to forget about the other 3 weeks that we saw him be the most targeted guy in the NFL to that point.
Yeah.
I will happily play a lot of Olave. P. Lally mentions Kendra Miller. As long as Kamara is healthy, I'm not going to touch on main slate. But it is good to finally see Kendra Miller. His 3rd season? I think I even drafted a couple shares of him, Felix, in best ball.
I did, yeah.
But it was like one of those things where I don't want to miss, right? I don't want to miss.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was at 50 or 55% last year. I was like, oh, he's gonna break out. This is easy.
Yes.
Like, but I was entirely wrong last year. But new coaching staff.
Yep.
He's getting a little bit more work, but it's still not enough where you can probably get the breakout game out of him. It's probably still way too much Kamara to be involved to get Kendra.
100% here. A little running back battle of Cam versus Kamara. Cam's going to win that one. Big Ed, what's up, man? Also, I'll take some darts with, Wandale. I think it takes a trailing script for a guy like Wandale to do really well. I think Scatterbo would be fine in that because we saw it against the Chiefs, right, where Scatterbo had a bunch of catches. So it's not like he would be dead on arrival there. But if I was playing like a Wandale type, I don't know if I would have both Dart and Scatterbo in that lineup. It is good. I mean, a Wandale could just be peppered with a lot of short targets if they are trailing, like we saw. I mean, Russell Wilson definitely fed him in that Cowboys game specifically.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else that you want to talk about in this game here, Felix, before we move on?
Tight end, Theo, getting a little bit of work. If like a nice start throw there.
Yeah, I mean, Theo, if you were to talk about just like, guys who could be in line, if it's not Jalen Hyatt gets a bunch more snaps, could be a little bit more tight end work, right? Like
that's what I was thinking. And I've always believed in the rookie tight end, rookie quarterback tight end situation. I don't know why I always gravitate to that, but I always do.
No, I 100% attach onto that. When I see a rookie quarterback, he always relies on the tight ends a little bit more. And at 3,400, I could be talked into that a decent bit. All right, let's move on from New Orleans and move on to Indianapolis. Hopefully you're not Mark Sanchez because he'd be having a bad day if so. But we do get a battle of running backs here as well. Jonathan Taylor and Ashton Genty. You have Daniel Jones, who I can't believe I'm saying this, is probably underpriced at 5,800. Felix, I stacked Geno Smith last week, right? If there was a walk of shame I could do on the show, I should probably do it right now. He was horrible. I mean, it was bad, Felix. And I don't have a whole lot of hope in this Las Vegas team. Who would have thought we'd be saying that 5 weeks ago? Is that a team traveling to Indy is really going to be on the back foot? But that's what it is. I mean, that's what it is. And Tyler Warren, at 4,700, great click, right? Brock Bowers is still like hurt, right? Like, is he even going to be?
He's playing. Oh, he's not playing? Is he out?
I got to check that. I got to confirm. I did see like he's been hurt. He needs the rest. I mean,
that would be great if he did. That
I need him to rest at this point. Yeah, Brock Bowers is trending toward not playing against the Colts from Ian Rappaport 5 hours ago.
Okay.
Changes the outlook a little bit, right? Because Jacoby Myers at 5,600 now, despite
I would say that kind of bumps him up a little bit, being more of a check down. Yeah.
And Michael Mayer is a guy where, again,
oh, yeah. Is he in?
Notre Dame tight end?
He's been out of the last couple of weeks.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he wasn't playing last. He didn't play last week.
Oh my God! Are you talking about me being a mess here, Felix? Take over on this game. Talk to me. What do you like?
Well, I mean, as always, we will always take JT in these games. I believe they are home. I do believe so. They're on the indoor track. I mean, this could be a tale of two teams just handing their ball off to their running backs, and I don't mind grabbing both of them in the same game. I'm not usually the type of person that wants two running backs from the same game, but this could be one of those rare occasions where you get those plays.
It is funny, Felix. Also, in that same tweet, right? In that same hours, I looked at one tweet below it, and it's Michael Mayer from Schefter saying that Michael Mayer is going to be out due to his most recent concussion, and it is Albert O, who, wow, I mean, is that really who's going to be starting at tight end for them? You got Ian Thomas too. Okay, so that makes sense. I don't have any interest in these Raiders tight ends at that point. I mean, if they're going to move the ball, it's got to be Genty and it's got to be Myers and God, Trey Tucker, right? Like it's going to be very narrow. I mean, we mentioned this last week. This is why I like Geno and them. The guys he's going to target, and I thought Bowers was hurt, and Jacoby Myers would be a great play at this point. Yeah, I think I would go back to Myers and Tucker a little bit here, Felix, because
I'm not touching Geno though. Geno doesn't have the upside. I'm out on Geno.
Out on Geno. Give me the weapons there. Genty though, I mean,
I don't know what the price of the D is, but I might be in on Colts D as well.
Oh, I like it. Let's look at the Colts defense price here, and more specifically, like you talk about tight ends here. If we're not going to be able to spend up for a guy like Bowers, I mean, 4,700 for Tyler Warren. Ooh.
Yeah.
Colts 3,300 as well. That's not bad at all. AD Mitchell dropping a touchdown on his way into the end zone last week.
Hurtful. I was overweight 80. We had a conversation about it, and I was a little bit overweight on him, and yeah.
I mean, he ended up taking the exact role that you thought he would, right? It would take a big play to get there. It would be down the field. He made a great play to get to that point. And then he also had the holding call on Jonathan Taylor's touchdown that would have taken that game, put the game on ice basically at that point. Yeah. The Rams would have had a chance to come back still. But yeah, it was kind of a bad day for AD Mitchell, but the talent is still there. I mean, that is just one thing that you can kind of say. And, I think I'll be in on this game, just, not as a full stack, right? Like, I'm not going to have Danny Dimes, Jonathan Taylor, and Tyler Warren, but I would have a piece of Taylor and Warren and being able to run it back, like a mini stack, right? Where it's like Warren or Taylor ran back with Myers or Tucker for the most part. Genty is going to kind of fall by the wayside for me just slightly. There is a ton of good running back plays on this slate at 6,700. He did look great last week. We know what he was capable of in college, but Felix, I don't know if I'm feeling it. Going into Indy here at 6,700 off a great week. I think I'd rather play the values and kind of avoid him in that range.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm getting to somebody, if I'm going to be overweight to somebody, it's going to be Jacoby Myers and potentially Genty. But yeah, I definitely see the downside of going against this defense. To be fair, if it is like a game where they're trying to keep with them, Genty's a good piece to be using. But yeah, I'm more of the Colts side. JT probably my main play out of this game.
Hilali mentions Pittman being a great play. It's one of those things where it's just like a mental block. For me, like I just never click on his name at all, and I haven't really regretted it. Ever since
he does pop up every once in a while, but yeah.
I got to see the case for him here because I'm gonna look up the Colts snaps here of the recent weeks, but.
I think it's been run through Tyler Warren more than anybody else. There's a reason why he's priced at 4,700 as a tight end this early in his career.
Like heads up, would you rather have him or Pittman?
I'm playing Tyler Warren heads up against Pittman. Yeah, they just run through the offense to do Taylor and Warren.
I mean, their stats are very similar too, though. When you look at it, I mean, Pittman's actually had better touchdown variance, 3 touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I still think the ceiling on Warren. You just see it. They had 29 and 27 targets apiece. They've had 21 and 19 catches. Warren just outpaced him by 29 yards, but Pittman's got the 3 touchdowns on his head. So, yeah, I mean, I guess Pittman's just been super consistent this year.
Yeah.
I mean, that what? All power to him. It's almost like the Keenan Allen year with like 2 years ago, right, where he was just so consistent. It was
kind of boring.
But it's like Keenan Allen light. You just don't realize someone's having a great year until you kind of dig in. You're like, oh, man. He also had 10 targets last week. I can be talked into some Pittman there, Peter.
Yeah, I can agree. Yeah.
All right, we'll move on from this game here and go to – oh, man, what a great game. I love this game, Felix.
So many bad defenses this week, man. So great.
And you know what? We are finally 4 games in, so we know a good feel on what these defenses look like, right? Like, I can confidently say that the Cowboys defense is the second worst in the league. I still think the Bengals are taking the crown on that.
Yes.
But the Jets are a surprising contender for bottom quadrant.
Surprisingly, yeah, they're bad on defense as well so far.
Yeah, and Felix, we get an under 6K Justin Fields. And
wow,
I tell you what, another guy you don't have to stack with, but he is the easiest guy to stack with in the world if you click Garrett Wilson's name. And I think Garrett Wilson absolutely cooks. This Dallas team was horrendous against the pass. So they were on the Sunday night game. So I did a lot of research, just doing those individual showdowns. And they were bottom of the barrel against wide receivers, more specifically guys who lined up out wide. Garrett Wilson should have a field day. I mean, you saw what the Packers looked like, and did to that Dallas defense. They put up 40 on. And I don't think that anything changes here on the road going to New York here. Happily stacking up Fields and Wilson. You can play Breece Hall without Braylon Allen, too. I mean, that should be big time noted. Running back is incredibly strong. You're most likely going to have 3 running backs in your lineups this week for those who are building. No Braylon Allen. Another thing that's going to be really kind of huge.
Justin Fields does take those goal line touchdowns.
Yes.
So I was watching the Steelers and a big fan of Najee last year. I just remember him just taking a naked boot and taking the TDs. I do feel like the touchdown upside is still a little bit lower for Breece Hall, but the amount of work that he could get versus Isaiah Pete, I don't remember who it is. He's going to have most of the work. And
Wait, did
I
you
think,
just do Isaiah Pede?
is that the Rams guy? This is what block.
Wait, okay, you broke my brain here, Felix, because I thought of Isaiah Pede yesterday. Random as could be. I thought of Isaiah Pede. He's been out the league forever. He's a former Cincinnati.
He played for Philly for the Rams. I saw him live.
Isaiah Davis is who you were thinking.
Yeah, Isaiah Davis.
But the fact that you brought up Isaiah Pede less than 24 hours after I thought about a guy who I haven't thought about in years since he played for the Bearcats and had a short coffee in the NFL, a short stint in the NFL.
And he looked good.
That name up. I'm sorry. I feel like that. There's no coincidence in this world. Isaiah Pede. I hope something good's happening to that man right now.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
I cannot believe that. Yeah. Go on. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I think he's just going to outtouch Isaiah Davis by a whole bunch. Even though Isaiah Davis does look good, he's not going to hold water to Breece Hall. And honestly, somebody that I'm saying here that is only projected for 4.75, Josh Reynolds, there might be a bump up for him as well. I'm going to bump his numbers up in my projections just a little extra.
Yeah, it should be noted that what was it? Oh man, I forget his name. Troy Johnson, is that?
Yeah, Tyler Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah, I played him on week 3 or something like that. Terrible play. Yeah. It was against the Bucs. Tyrod Taylor was starting at quarterback, and I still played him. He was inactive last game, and it kind of allowed Ina Smith to get a little bit more work in that offense there. But also, I mean, they ran 3 wide receiver sets, a decent bit, but they still kind of relied on Mason Taylor a lot last game. Mason Taylor was a really good shot at 2,800. You saw what Kraft was able to do. Kraft arguably should have had 2 touchdowns in that Sunday night game too. I mean, I'll buy in on double stacks with Taylor and Wilson. Josh Reynolds, I like that call, Felix. He's out there for just as much of the game as Fields or as Wilson. So
I'm not smashing it. I'm just saying he's probably going to do a little bit better than the 4.75 that he's currently listed at. I don't know. Maybe he does go for 20 points, like those random games that he has. He was on my million making or winning team, so I'd always have a little soft spot for those people. Yes. So I will bump him up a little bit, but I'm not saying there's another game that I'm fully stacked on myself. So
all right, I like it, and let's go to the Dallas side too here because each of these teams. These comments always I love these. I'm on the Jets. Trust me, I'm a Jets fan. Save your money. It's funny because I play 2K with a Cowboys fan, and he would say the exact thing where it's like, our defense is so bad, we are never going to get a stop, right? It's a battle of which team is worse at this point. But look, this Dallas team, we were buying on their offense already. CD got hurt, kind of being like, oh man, what's going to happen? Come out and put 40 on the Packers. Crazy, right? Like, it is one thing that they do week in and week out. I really like Dak. I think Javonte, especially with Miles Sanders, where he was banged up last week, but like Javonte, clear alpha in that room. Saw what A-Chain was able to kind of get going to. You had this Dolphins team that was able to move the ball against this Jets defense. Pickens, unreal game. Ferguson getting all those targets. I was kind of disappointed in Tolbert. He didn't really do anything until that overtime big catch there. So I'm just kind of isolated on their top 3 skill players plus Dak here, Felix. But again, I'm okay being isolated on those guys because none are overly expensive. I don't think Pickens rises above 20%. I actually think he comes in lower than 18 because 6,600 is a pretty tall tag for a guy like George Pickens. But yeah, I'm curious to hear what you have to say on the Dallas side. I'm
in on those same main targets as well. For some reason, I'm getting an inkling that there's going to be a fight between Sauce and Pickens. I don't know. Maybe they're best friends and they're not going to fight. But I'm getting a weird vibe that Pickens is going to have one of those I'm a big baby games. So I'm probably going to stay away. Just like that weird urge. Like he hasn't had one in like 2 weeks. Unless he gets fed, then it might be a different story. But
Sauce has been shadowing the wide receiver number ones a tad more this year. I know in week 1 he did that. He covered DK Metcalf at a high clip. Mm-hmm. If that does happen, like would you start to lean more toward a Tolbert play at 3,600 where he's not going to be owned at all and everyone's going to be gravitating toward cheap running back? Is that a good way to get different from the field?
Maybe they use more gadget plays, maybe a little bit more Turpin and that route, but maybe Ferguson. Like Ferguson has been, I feel like, a big target for Dak whenever Pickens is not getting it done.
Yep, 100%. Turpin played a lot once CD went down.
Yeah.
Didn't have as big of a game as I wanted, but definitely a factor.
Turpin's out? Okay, I didn't know
that. In that offense when he is out there. So Turpin, I didn't know he got hurt.
I missed that as well, so my best.
I got to catch up on these. They used to have status on here, and I used to be able to kind of check these beforehand. If Turpin is out, man, damn.
So yeah, they're. I mean, maybe it is more Pickens, and I'm just lacking it.
All right, let me look this up too. I definitely believe that Turpin's out, but it would be Flournoy who would probably step up and get those snaps. It's actually a really good showdown slate to kind of look at because you would have a bunch of 200 values that you could look at a decent bit. God, it would have to be Flournoy. Jalen Brooks, I don't think he'd get the job done. I played all those guys in preseason. Flournoy definitely would be the one that I would look at in a showdown sense, but not on a main slate.
Jeez.
All right.
Yeah, Turpin's out on Underdog NFL. That's where I look at my information.
I just need to have that notifications on.
Yeah.
All right, Felix. Texans taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, what's the big news here? Cooper Rush starting for Lamar Jackson here. You also have their Ravens defense that has been very underwhelming to start out this year. I don't know what to do with this game. Derrick Henry could be relied upon a ton. They're going to stack the box, make Cooper Rush beat them. I would assume that's what Houston does. I don't know. This game is probably one of the worst ones on the board. I mentioned you're going to have a soft spot for Woody Marks, though, 5,400. What are you doing with it?
So, Woody Marks, I'm in on. Like, I'm one of the believers. Like, I was kind of in on it in the preseason and whatnot, in the pre-drafts and all those things, but then I was kind of out because everybody's like, "Oh, he can't handle a full workload," and then his coach comes out and praises him, says he can't handle more. He's going to give him more. I'm in on it. This defense is beat up. They are lacking everywhere. This is going to be, where you take a shot on Nico. The spot as cheap as it gets for Nico. Maybe this is a get-right game for them. They also, on the other side, potentially going to be activating Keaton Mitchell. I was just looking for the out tag for Turpin, and I saw that Keaton Mitchell might be active for this game. Maybe they're just tanking, and they're just going to, if it's going south, pull out Derrick Henry until Lamar's back on the field, and we can get some cheap plays on the other side.
I'd want to believe that so bad, but I watch Texans play football, and I just can't see that happening. I just can't see the Houston Texans falling away from Baltimore at all. It would be interesting if Keaton was active 2 years ago. He was dynamic when he actually touched the ball. Then he suffered a pretty bad knee injury, missed out on all of last season, right? And then comes into this season, thought you'd have a little bit of momentum, look good in the preseason, then kind of amounted to what he has done now, which is absolutely nothing. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of with, our guy here, Scotty W, with, full game fade besides Nico. Kind of lean in that direction. I'm not going to be buying on Derrick Henry. He could have 25 touches, like Chris says.
I mean, this back in the day, this would be like the team that you would be targeting for Derrick Henry. He used to tear the Texans up. He used to have his biggest games against the Texans. I could, would be remiss if I looked at the game and it was just him bulldozing over the entire defense again. But I don't know. I think he's past his prime a little bit. I think it's a little over.
The washed king. Derrick Henry is washed.
Finally.
You're getting in on it early. He's going to fumble early on. He's going to cost the Ravens the game. I just want the Bengals to somehow finish ahead of the Ravens. I would love it. I'm going to be cheering on these Texans hard. Even though my Bengals season's over, right? We suck, but you're going to suck with us, Baltimore. It's glorious. So I'm going to love it. I don't have any belief in anyone else on the Ravens getting there with Cooper Rush as quarterback.
No. Somebody brought up the T targets to tight ends. I could definitely see Mark Andrews having a nice 4 for 50 type game.
And it's like Isaiah Likely's like back in the fold too.
Yeah.
So it's like Yeah, but 4K for Andrews is one of those things. And we just saw him have a big game where he was like the optimal captain even on that slate a couple weeks ago. So I'm not going to hate on that, but this game isn't my cup of tea. I mean, anything else you want to mention on it?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
All right, perfect. Denver Broncos going to Philly. I'll say this, and like I said, I'm a realist. I watched the Bengals. I know they suck. I watched the Broncos, and I thought they sucked against the Bengals. I watched a couple Broncos games. Bo Nix, he's got to step up. He's got to step up. He just doesn't look that great, man. They even score in that second half, like against the Bengals there.
There's something. I was a Bo Nix hitter last year, and maybe like my reverse psychology is like coming back into play where I'm just like now like I'm in on him. Hopefully he's not good in my head, but I didn't think he was that good of a quarterback. I think he just ran hot. He's a bit of a streaky quarterback. When he's on, he's on. But when he's off, I mean, you can see it. Like he's very hit or miss, and right now he's on the missing side. Doesn't mean he can't catch fire, but he is a streaky quarterback. When he's on, it's awesome for every piece. But I'm out until he sees it.
Yeah, this is my favorite part about like college football. He's the most accurate college football passer ever, and then it's like a bunch of jet sweeps where he's pushing the ball 4 inches forward, he's throwing screens. Look, I don't think he's terrible, but I was with you, Felix. I didn't like him as a prospect. Right? I didn't really like him going, and he proved me wrong last year. Right? Like I'll give him credit. He looked better than I thought he would last year, and you just kind of see, did the league catch up with him? Did he regress? I'm not a believer in this Broncos offense. And look, the Eagles defense has not been incredible like we saw them. They're going to peak at the right time. I'm not going to throw the towel on them at all, but this defense isn't the same as it was toward the end of last season. They are gettable. Cortland Sutton is, someone that you can look at. He was targeted in the end zone frequently. He still gets targeted in the end zone a ton. I mean, he is Bo Nix's favorite red zone target. Troy Franklin is out there in the field. He is completely assumed that wide receiver 2 duties on the Broncos. So, I can get on board with like a Franklin play at 4K. Sutton at 6K is a little high, but I'm okay doing that. And then did you see the report today of the Eagles receivers being upset with their roles?
Frustrated or whatever. Yeah. But obviously they're frustrated. What are they going to say? No, we're fine with getting zero stuff. I mean, obviously they're kind of PO'd.
I was thinking the same thing. I mean, look, they're winning games. They won a Super Bowl. The football works.
And this is not the game to complain about it. Like you don't want to pass against this defense. You want to run against this defense. So it's not going to get any better, I don't think, this week.
I don't think it's going to get any better at all. And people say like, Saquon and that's it. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. Why would you play a wide receiver? Has Jalen Hurts shown that he can throw the ball more than 10 yards down the field this season? No, he hasn't. Who are you going to stack him with if you're playing him? You got to play him naked at that point. It's Saquon only for Philly here. 7,500, not bad. Again, he is going to come in under owned because there's a lot of running back spots here on the slate. If he is the top scorer, like you're paying dirt. You'd be paying dividends pretty early if he is one of the highest scoring in the slates. Because look, that 12% ownership seems pretty right to me here, Felix.
Yeah, I agree, and I will be a lot. I will probably be overweight if I get Rico Dowdle or one of the cheap running backs. I'll probably be pairing him with Saquon. I like to pair my cheaper guys with one expensive guy to kind of average it out. Yeah,
and look. Like it's 2 short games we're going to talk about, but really, I don't want to spend any time on this game. If you actually did ask me, I'm going to be looking at the Eagles defense at 3,200 here, a decent bit, and that
I'm fading most of it. Yeah,
that might be the highest exposed player on this game for me. So I'm not going to get too cute with it. If I don't like this game, even though it's got a mid-40 total, who's going to do the scoring? Right, and it's going to be Saquon Hurts, and then with the Broncos. Let's talk about the running back situation real quick.
They're a hot mess. I'm out on. I was again looking at pick 6 earlier. When the Broncos are on the road, RJ Harvey does not get the ball, so I'm out on Harvey this week. If I get anybody, it would be Dobbins. I'm not touching Beatty or Harvey.
It was funny because like every time you touch the ball against the Bengals, you're like, oh man. You turned that like negative 3-yard loss into like a gain of 1, or wow, he had that catch for the touchdown too. Like,
but even that, I don't think at that price tag, like I feel like we could get to a better.
This isn't the week for it, right? Like, this isn't the week to pay a 4,500 tag on a running back who will get 30% of the snaps.
Right.
There's other weeks for that, like Travion Henderson last week. I love to say that when I literally did that last week. So. Yeah. I get it for people who do that. All right, so now we're going to move on and talk about Titans and the Cardinals. Titans, man, not showing much life here at all. Kind of a little bit disappointing. I'm still a big believer in Cam Ward. I'm not going to say he's bad. It is noted, though, that Calvin Ridley is a complete non-factor in that room, right? It is Alec Manor's wide receiver one there, and even like DK is going to get a little bit more work than Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
What the snap counts. So this is more specifically the snap counts are the issue here. So just so people know, in case like you didn't watch last week or anything like that, here's how the snaps worked out. Calvin Ridley ran 12 routes. Tyler Lockett ran 24 routes. Tyler Lockett back into the mix there. Alec Manor ran 23. Ridley didn't even run half the routes of Tyler Lockett. So just let that know. Let that sit. You're not playing Calvin Ridley.
No, take him out. Yeah.
That is the easiest uncheck I've ever seen in my life.
And mayonnaise being 4,100, it's not a bad price still.
Oh,
to start with this game, I think they're going to be passing the ball a lot more on the Arizona side. I do think they'll hand it off here and there, but it'll be a lot more of a pass heavy game script for the Cardinals.
So, yeah,
I didn't know that.
Ridley could be out. Let me check this one here.
Probably going to be traded.
Yeah, you know what? I just have to assume it's not happy with the role or whatever. Has been ruled out. It's not official, okay, but it just that is crazy. If he's out, like it doesn't really impact anyone's role for me at all.
No, because he hasn't really been a factor at all. So
that is really interesting. Cam and Alec run back with McBride. You can never count me out on McBride. I'll gladly play some McBride at 58.
Yeah, I love McBride.
Let's talk about Arizona here, right? And talk about this running back situation. I know you touched on it a little bit. As far as Tennessee goes, it's probably only Pollard for me. Ayo Manor, actually, would probably make the cut. I don't think I'm going to go down to Cam Ward this week. I'm
probably not touching Chig anymore. Sorry. I know that you're big on Chig, but they already talked about bringing more Gunnar Helm in as well.
Yes. After week one, I thought my take was wrong, and that's the worst feeling in the world when you go big on someone.
No, I hear you.
But yeah, talk about Arizona and the running back situation that you expect. I think these projections should be flipped personally. I think DeMarcado should be closer to 14 and Carter should be closer to 6. But what do I know? Felix, tell me.
I think they did say that Carter was like the star. Maybe I heard it backwards, but I thought I heard Carter was the starter. So maybe that's why he's getting the bump. But they already talked about Bam Knight. Like when you start bringing in names like Bam Knight, just avoid that running back room. It's not going to be the running back room that you want. Also, they're not really a run funnel type team in my eyes. I feel like you can beat them on the edges, like in the slot. I do think it's going to be a lot of Trey McBride dump offs and Carter. It has a good passing, receiving game as he showed when he was once with the Jets. It's a pretty condensed room for me. I am going to have some Marvin Harrison Jr. I maybe did turn the corner around last week, but I probably won't be overweight. I will have some Kyler Murray, Trey McBride teams with the run back with mayonnaise.
I'll tell you what, Marvin Harrison had a pretty rough 3 quarters there and then turned it on. Even Herb Street was harsh on him. And Herb Street,
he was pretty tough on him. Yeah,
I think Herb Street was like sounding like a disappointed dad all broadcast. And then he actually ended up, making some big plays there down the stretch. Yeah, I can take the gamble at 5,400, right? Like you hope that maybe he's got some wind under his sails now. But yeah, I'm going to be honest. I think I'm going to be avoiding the Arizona running back room more than I expected. I think I'm not playing Michael Carter. I'm not going to do it. And you're exactly right. Bam Knight could be involved. It could be a 3-way monster. It could be just a complete mess.
Yeah.
If Bam Knight's the one that goes off, you know what that does for you DFS-wise? Absolutely nothing. It just means that the other guys didn't get there because no one's clicking on Bam Knight tomorrow. I'm okay avoiding this room. And if I did play anyone, it would be Amari DeMarcado, where a lot of people are like, well, if Michael Carter's going to start, right? It could easily just be one of those things where they just kind of want to leave DeMarcado in his role a little bit, right? Where, he's already settled into this role. And, once Benson, if he comes back, right? Like, I could see 60% of the snaps go his way. But again, is that really something I want to do with the running back absolutely loaded on this slate, Felix? If I'm trying to win a milli, sure, right? Like in the milli roundtable. but I think they're going to be a little bit overowned. I think Michael Carter is going to eclipse double-digit percents, at that price tag and that projection. I think DeMercado is not going to be completely ignored, but I'm kind of out on this room here, Felix.
I'm in the same boat. I don't care for having 24% of a Cardinals defense. That is a crazy high amount that I'm seeing there.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that here. Yeah, no Chig. It's terrible, man. Gunnar Helm, though, he does look good. Was good at Texas as well. Week came Harrison Jr. Okay, rants. I Marvin now.
I think when I watched his tape originally, I watched all of his snaps, and he makes the easy catches hard, and he makes the hardest catches all the time. So like the harder the catch, honestly, the better he is. But the easier the catch, the harder it is for him. And I've seen that now time and time out where he drops the easiest passes in the world and catches some of the most crazy patches.
He tries to catch it with his body the entire time. That's what Herbstreit was even going through too. And you just hope that maybe he's found something. And I will take the gamble. And P. Lally mentions a pivot to Kyler.
Yeah,
I could be down for that, right? Yeah. Like you could double stack Kyler, McBride, and Harrison, and you're not breaking the bank at all under 6K there. You would be spending less than 17K total on them, or just over 17.1. So I'm okay with that. But again, Kyler is definitely a front runner. So I like that. Yeah. All right, Felix, you ready to move on from this game and talk about some Seahawks and Bucks?
This is my favorite game of the week.
I'm going to let you lead off then. No introduction needed. Talk to me about Seahawks and Bucks.
I think there's like games that you don't expect it to be a shootout, but this is one of the games I do expect a shootout. Both teams can pass the ball. Both teams kind of defend the run at a decent level, and both best evens aren't like amazing, but they're not bad either. Sam Darnold, will let it fly against his against his Tampa Bay defense, and I think it's kind of the other way. I think Baker Mayfield, he doesn't like to give it the rock to bad running backs. No offense to Rachaad White. I just don't think that's the play this week. I think they just let it fly with the Mikabuka, Chris Godwin, and you bring it back with Cooper Kupp and JSN. And those tight ends looked amazing last week. I think it could be I want a piece or 3 pieces in this game on all of my teams.
I like it. Jackson Smith and Jigba struggled that first half, right? I don't think he had did he even have a catch in that first 28 minutes of the game?
No, they kind of shut him down a little bit, yeah.
And then, but this is the week where it's kind of the flop flag, right? But I think a lot of people are going to be that way. This is a pass funnel. You do want to target the pass catchers against Tampa. Yeah. But this is a game I can get on board with you here, Felix. I do like playing wide receivers against Tampa specifically at 7,100. I think Jackson Smith and Jigba is supremely talented. Anyone who's watched the show over the last couple of years knows that I think really highly of him. I think highly of all my Ohio State wide receivers. Might run a lineup tomorrow with Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith, and Marvin Harrison there. I think that would be a great way to kind of get my Ohio State fandom out there. But yeah, look, great spot. Darnold has been really good this year. Really good. Yeah. As long as it's not the playoffs where he starts to get happy feet. He's been a really good fantasy quarterback over the last 20 games. So, I'm not going to hate on him at all. Godwin, I can't believe that projection on Godwin. I think that's a bad projection. I don't even mean to say that to slander us, but I cannot believe he's projected 13 after what he did last week. What was it? He ran 37. I guess the 10 targets.
He was targeted a whole bunch last week.
The targets there. I guess that's propelling him. And he was thrown into the fire, but I'm out on Godwin, man. I'm not going to play a guy coming off that type of injury and right away. I'm going to be going for Egbuka, and that's about it. Sterling Shepard, I could be talked in on as well at 3,900. I think that's the type of guy where, again, completely unowned, but wouldn't shock me if he had a big game where he just all of a sudden had 5 catches for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns or something like that. It's really easy though to like Rachaad White, right? That's probably the easiest guy in this game to kind of really like.
I'm out on him, but I'm at the same time, I like this game so much. Maybe he gets a couple pass check downs and it's free. I could definitely see Rachaad White making it at that $4,700 price tag. It's really not that bad. I've also, thought about sprinkling some Sean Tucker for those explosive plays. There's just so many pieces. There's a lot of explosive players on both sides of this game.
There's a chance it's not like a true White plays 80%. I'm just playing devil's advocate here because I think White's a good play. Like if you're playing him tomorrow, I don't think he's going to be the reason you lose. I think he could be the reason that you're up at the top of the leaderboard. But if you were to play devil's advocate, it would be a guy like Sean Tucker getting more responsibility than assumed, right? Like a lot of people could be thinking this is a 1-for-1. White's going to come in and take Bucky's role. That very well could happen. But Tucker, on the other hand, could be playing the White into Bucky's role where all of a sudden 35% of the snaps, and we know what he's capable of. He was really good. He's Syracuse.
He was on the Millie Maker last year, I feel like, for somebody. Or if not, he was on one of the higher up ended teams because he put up 40 points with Bucky putting up a bunch of points too or something like that.
I want to say you're right. That does sound completely familiar. Where he did do that last year. He's only had one carry this year because obviously they've had two running backs for the entire time.
Yeah.
But going back to last year, it was the game he went 14 for 136 and 3 for 56 through the air with 2 touchdowns. My God. He's got upside.
He's got upside.
It's, again, completely unknown pivot. And it doesn't even have to be a pivot, too. Like, if you want to use it as a case against Rachaad White, that's the case. But I don't hate that.
Maybe they keep Rachaad White in his role and they bring in Tucker.
Yep. Yeah. I like that. I like that reasoning because that's exactly why, a guy who is projecting to be very high owned and overall, just playing devil's advocate for the most part.
Yeah.
Felix, anyone else you want to talk about in this game here before we move on?
No, I think I express my love for all the players. Horton's another good player. Like a Millie Maker randomly puts up a 20 burger. It's not a bad price for him as well.
There's also this case from our guy Ray 205K. Wait, Sheiks. Yeah. He was good at Arizona State there and stuff.
I would love him coming out, and he didn't show his talent that he came out with.
And then he came into the NFL kind of flat. So it's there's a reason why Bucky's won that role. Bucky's really good, but yeah. And then Pilai mentioned he's like Walker in this spot here, and I have some Walker and White, but mostly on the Seattle side. Yep, the other guy Peter Porker. You know what? I haven't watched the newest Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah, I liked it. Yeah, it was good. I'm hoping the third one comes out soon.
Oh, there's 3. There's going to be a third.
There's going to be a third one. Yeah.
I got to watch number 2 then. Yeah, this game could definitely be that everyone is defense that goes the other way. I mean, I'll tell you this about Horton. Betting his props last game, I was so excited after he got a catch on the first drive. Then I didn't see him the rest of the game. So he was out there. He didn't get targeted at all. So I don't know. Who's your favorite ones just overall? If you had to rank your top 3,
JSN, then Ibuka, and then I'm going to play a lot of Cooper Kupp, followed by Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin. All right. Yeah. I like it. All right. Washington Chargers. You're a Chargers fan. Obviously, a little bit disappointed with the way last week worked out.
I expected it though. They're going to fall flat every time they go East Coast.
You know what? That's a fair point, right? Especially the New York is the longest trip they can make, unless Jacksonville or something like that somehow would snake their way in there. But that's got to be the longest trip. Buffalo, maybe. Yeah. But going from LA to New Jersey, not great. Marion Hampton though was the bright spot, right? Yes. 6,500 here. Once again, you gotta like him. I mean, he was out there almost the entire time. My fear was oh man, maybe they go to 2 running backs, right? They don't want Marion Hampton to assume the workload. Nope, that was completely wrong. He absolutely was getting the most work of any guy. You're a Chargers fan, so I'm gonna let you take it, but I do have to say this before I hand it off. QJ, the top projected wide receiver on this team, who saw that coming into the season? He's looked great. He's looked great. There's just no way around it. I don't know.
McConkey hasn't looked as good as Quentin Johnson, unfortunately, this year. Actually, McConkey dealing a little bit of the drops this year. It's funny because they just all keep getting the same target share, so it's hard to say, oh, this one's going to break out because he's starting to show it. But they could all put up points this week, or it just could be another QJ game, or it could just be like a lad reemergence game, or it could just be the old reliable Keaton Allen. So it's pick your favorite, wide receiver with the bring back, they're all similar price. They're all within $200 of each other. I wouldn't mind a Jaden Daniels, Zach Ertz with a bring back of one of those three wide receivers. I'm personally going to be playing I'm in on Omarion Hampton. I had 44% on DK, Millie Maker, Best Ball. So I'm in on Hampton. I believe in the talent. I do think he's going to have like a few more breakout games. And now this being at home crowd, maybe they get a couple turnovers, a little bit rusty. Jaden Daniels, we'll see.
A lot of those before his price rose with the Najee firework incident too. So you got some really strong Omarion Hampton teams in best ball. You just got to at that point.
Yeah, I have some fifth round Omarion Hampton teams.
Oh yeah, I was like thinking about that because you were very high on him even before that stuff happened. Then everyone started to draft him where his ADP rose significantly. But yeah, I mean, look, we were kind of down on Washington, both of us, the last 2 weeks, right? They ended up losing last week, right? They ended up losing last week, but then they dominated the Raiders. So, I think they would have been happy to go 1-1 if you told them beforehand without Jaden Daniels, like you're going to go 1-1, you're going to lose to the Falcons, but you're going to beat the brakes off the Raiders. I think they would have taken that, especially going on the road to Atlanta. Look, Daniels is very, very good. I think that him coming back is going to be great. We obviously know the situation, though, in Washington is that no McLaurin. Debo looked pretty good last week. What was it, 6 for 72 and 1? I played devil's advocate against him last week. He proved me wrong there with 20 fantasy points, basically. We're not going to be on the running back situation here, right? That was just
still out,
rip the Band-Aid off. We're not going to talk about the running backs here.
I should have brought that up when we're talking about the Cardinals. It's just a hot mess. Just target the passing game if you're going to target it. It's just a hot mess.
I'm with you there. And I think Jaden Daniels is a little bit priced up here at $7K. I don't feel comfortable clicking that tag. I mean, look, I think him and Debo and Ertz are probably good plays overall. Ertz, Daniels' favorite target is Ertz. Especially in a game that they're going to be trailing, you could see a ton of Ertz. That's a guy's reception prop I'm probably going to be hitting, especially if I see them go down 7 early. I will definitely be betting. It's one thing that I have done, Felix, on every single Washington slate is once they go down, I bet Ertz's receptions. But it's it has to be they're down 7 or 10 where it's clear and obvious passing, right? Because there's some games where, they can kind of control the tempo really well. They convert third downs at a very high clip. So I really want them to be chasing the game where that pace is up. And this could be one for Ertz here. And Debo looked good last week. Not really competing with anyone else for targets, but you would be playing a little bit of a lotto with, who's going to step up again, right? Because last week, I think Jalen Lane had a catch for, 18 yards. He still went under his prop, by the way. McCaffrey had 21 yards, and they kind of split up the snaps here. It was Chris Moore who was out there, 25 routes, only 3 targets and 0 catches. So, outside of Debo and Ertz and Daniels, are you really interested in anyone?
I'm not touching anybody on the Washington side of those 3.
All right, perfect. And then, we got BG3 mentions our guy, Ladd, too cheap. And you mentioned it, though. It's a little bit of, unless – trying to think of the right word for it. You got to be building multiple lineups to feel really comfortable clicking on one of those names.
Yeah, they're all good, but it's you just don't know what they're going to do from week to week. It could be all 3, but I highly doubt it. So you're just taking unnecessary risk by taking one of those guys. Gadsden is also getting some work. He didn't get enough work, I think, last week. I made one of my bigger plays of the day. Yeah. But I think Ladd is too cheap, but at the same time, he has kind of shown why he is being cheaper so far this season.
Yeah, I agree there, Felix. And look, I noted it in the last few weeks, but the Chargers are passing at an extremely high clip.
Yeah.
They are one of the highest pass percentages in the league, right? So I don't want to say none of these receivers are great, but if you were building a single lineup, I would 100% agree. But man, I want to stack up Herbert, Hampton, and McConkey and run it back with an Ertz or a Debo so bad. I really do. And if I had to rank them right now, though, I would rank them on the way they're performing this season. And it would be QJ, Allen, and McConkey. And until McConkey shows me an upside game, and again, I realize that can kind of be the wrong way to approach things, but it's until he shows me something, I don't really want to go with him too much because his role has been reduced a little bit with QJ's incredible rise and Keenan's resurgence back into that Chargers team.
Yeah,
Keaton
I agree.
Binking, you did not message me, by the way, and you won that hat. I looked everywhere for that message. Make sure to DM me for your free hat from last week.
Or you have to send it to me for winning it. That's all I'm putting out there.
I'm like, literally, I was like looking all over the place. I'm like, he said he messaged me. So Binking, make sure to claim your free hat at Rubio Dimes or at the Run Pure Sports. DM it. I will make sure. Good to see you in the chat again, man. I don't think we have to spend too much time on this game. We talked about it here. Yep. Running good on time as well.
Okay, perfect.
I'm going to be at this one tomorrow. I'll probably be wearing a Joe Burrow jersey and watching my Bengals lose by 21.
Where are we sitting at? Are we on the lower bowl or we're in the fun seats upstairs?
Fanatics hooked us up.
Okay.
So it'll be very good seats.
Good.
They're going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
No, I'm just being a cock at that point. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's going to be a good time. I do really look forward to David Montgomery's,
Yeah, they're going to get him one at least.
I think so too. That's going to be a bet I 100% make. I hate betting against Bengals, but I hate not making money. So I will be betting some David Montgomery props here. For those who don't know, his entire family is basically going to be at the game and stuff too. So lots to really like with David Montgomery. We know Dan Campbell is such a player's coach too. He'll make sure that Montgomery kind of gets his if they're in a position to do so. Jahmyr Gibbs at 7,700. Look, I've also, I keep saying it. I sound like a broken record. Bengals secondary. I'm not going to quite say it's as bad as the Cowboys, but it's very, very bad. I think if you had to make me pick, I would think the Bengals are a worse defense overall because they look pretty rough against the run over the last 2 weeks without Shamar Stewart in them. But their secondary is extremely bad. And this could be a game where we saw the Lions put up 52 against the Bears. Not to say that they're going to do that here. But what was that game? It was a Jared Goff nuke, right? So I don't want to completely ignore Jared Goff. Again, I want to attack this Bengals defense. Campbell could easily throw it 25 times here, and 5 of those are touchdowns, and Goff somehow has 300 yards, and those big plays could be Jameson Williams or Amon-Ra St. Brown. I really like this game here, Felix, and the way I would attack it is mostly on the Lions side, and I don't know if I can pay $7,800 for Jamar. I don't know if I can pay $6,100 for Chase Brown, so it might just be a little bit of a one-way stack. What do you think?
I'm on the same boat. It could just be a full Detroit Lion onslaughts, or J-Mo's been dropping a few, and he could have had a couple breakout games so far if he could just hold on to it. I think this could be a breakout game for J-Mo if he can hold on to the ball. At 4,900, it's really not a bad price. If for what he brings to this offense against that terrible pass defense of the Bengals, it could easily be that route. Or it could maybe be a couple deep bombs to J-Mo, pass interference, and a couple, 2 or 3 touchdowns apiece for the Gibbs and Montgomery train.
That's what I'm kind of leaning on, right?
Yeah.
And I think Montgomery won't be high-owned at all just because there's so many value running backs. But it's if I did want to go someone off the wall, it would be him. But it would also be Jameson Williams because, look, he did 2 for 108 and 1 against that Bears team. I could easily see something like 3 for 163 and 3, like that Randy Moss stat line, right? The Bengals are that bad over the top, and I think Jameson Williams is at least going to get a couple cracks to break a long one. And look, I don't mean to talk about the Bengals like they're a peewee football team, but they put on a display that's like a peewee football team the last couple of weeks. So.
Detroit defense is also a play here.
Oh, yes.
I think it's probably the most owned defense if I was to guess.
At 3,500. And the amount of value running backs and stuff, if they were under 10%, say, I think it might get. It's definitely going to get higher than that. I think. Looking at that. What number are you drawing the line on? Where you're like, it's too high of an ownership because you look at them individually though.
That Cardinals ownership was way too high compared to this one. They're only like $100 cheap, or $100 more, $100 less. I'm all in on Detroit. On Detroit deal. I don't think there's a price number that they could get to that or an ownership number that they could get to. There's good. They're going to throw an interception. It's that's almost chalked in with Jake Browning, and then you got at least 2 to 3 sacks when they drop back. Because as bad as the defense is, that offensive line is way worse, and you're looking at 2 to 3 sacks at minimum.
You're definitely going to get some sacks. Aiden Hutchinson's going to be pressuring a decent bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the O-line's bad. That's what kills me. They spent a lot of money. They spent high capital on
just
Marius Smith.
instant pressures on them, man.
It just feels like, is that scheme related? I don't know, but it's like Orlando Brown didn't just suddenly get bad overnight. Omarius Mims showed a lot of promise his rookie year. He didn't just get bad, over the course of an offseason. The guards, like Dalton Risner and stuff, he's been hurt, but it's like, I don't think that the Bengals O-line is that bad. Why are they sucking, right? Like that's a concern. And again, one-way traffic. I don't know if I'd have to run back any of these Lions stacks, but I kind of want to. If I did, might just throw some belief that Jamar Chase gets fed like he did.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
right. Like
there's a potential like 7,800 possibly. I mean, it's showing 11% ownership, but I could definitely see that being at 7 to 9, somewhere in that range.
Yep.
And you're getting a lower owned Jamar with the potential that he has. It's not like this defense is elite, but it's Jamar Chase. You can't zero out somebody that can put up 50 points, and obviously probably not with Jake Browning, but yeah.
Joe Burrow threw 13 passes, right, in that game against the Jags. Jake Browning threw 32. The amount of plays that were scripted to Jamar in that second half after Joe Burrow went down was insane. He crushed, absolutely crushed, and. You know what? I'm going to be buying in on Jamar Chase the more I look at it, because I think this ownership is laughable, and it could be a great game environment. It could be a game where, again, Lions could up 42. I guarantee you no one is more pissed off at the fact that he is not producing, not even from fantasy-wise, but like just from a football perspective, than Jamar Chase screaming at Zach Taylor in the middle of last game. He is going to get the football a ton. He's going to get the football a ton here, Felix. I'm going to be buying in on some Jamar Chase, 7,800, on a slate where a lot of people are pointing out the Bengals here being terrible, all that. They are correct, but I'm going to do the stacks. I'm going to run it back here with Chase. I'm going to be stacking up the Lions, running it back with Jamar, watching that 425 game print for me while I'm in the stands.
I hope so. That would be awesome for the Bengals. Maybe, they're at home. Maybe they show up, ready to go. Maybe Trey Henderson has like a career game against a pretty stable, or like stationary quarterback. Maybe he shows up and then causes a couple turnovers, easy touchdowns or short fields. You never know. Like, it's possible.
It's definitely
likely, but like you're looking at like less than 10% outcome most likely.
Like in the case too, it's like even if they did get blown out, like the case that you would be kind of looking for is what Odunze went off in that game, right, where he went 7 for 128 and 2 against the Lions when they got blown out. So it's like, a receiver can still do well in a blowout script.
It's just is Jake Browning going to be able to do it? He has shown it. He also shown that he can't. It's like you just don't know what Jake Browning you're going to get.
Just throw 8 million screens, please.
That's all. That'd be great. Yeah.
That would be a great feeling, P. Lally, especially when I don't have to do the showdown show at night. If I would want to win $1 million, then be on that showdown show. I will say that is one thing. The one show I missed would be the one I win the $1 million. That'd be kind of sad. Let's go into our pick 6 here, Felix.
All
right. So we're gonna get our pick 6 here for the DraftKings pick 6. If you sign up, you get a good winnings boost as well. They always do a winning boost pack, which is about 30% boost. We almost had a good WNBA winner in the finals yesterday.
Do you know how we did yesterday or last week?
We did not quite get there. I think we missed 2, I believe. I will have to go ahead and check. But winning boost pack, you got a 30%, 30% boost for me here personally on my account. Hopefully you guys have the same thing. There's also one for the London game as well. All right. Felix, you looked at this beforehand. I'm going to go ahead and scroll through these here now, though. But one guy that I really want to specifically target was the Montgomery one, and more specifically, if we can get him to score a touchdown. Problem is, it's 0.8x. You know what? We'll loop back to that one. But Felix, who is your first pick on the
Garrett Wilson over 64.5 receiving yards?
Oh yeah, we're on the same page today.
Yeah,
64.5. A guy who wasn't really targeted all that much in the first half last game ended up getting there and then some. What did he have? Like 82 yards receiving or something like that. He also had the last catch of the game. 64.5.
Yeah.
For Garrett Wilson. All right. So I like that. We're going over on that. Let me go ahead and look here too. I actually want to look at one thing in particular before I I'm going to share my screen here too. Let's see if we can kind of get this across the line. I want to look at some of the Texans stats here.
Higgins sub 1% too. If that is the case, that's a pretty good play as a bring back that low owned with who has potential to show up for the Bengals.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think T. Higgins is the one who kind of went off the last time I went to a Bengals game. It was against the Dolphins. Yeah. He was the one who went off.
So there's vibes there. There's coincidences. So you never know.
Yeah, there's absolute vibes. All right, so I'm going through some of the snaps here. I just kind of wanted to look at it. More specifically, Miami, too. I did want to look at this. If we could somehow get a Westbrook-Ikine number. Oh, we do. All right, let's look at the Miami snaps. Let's see if we get anyone good enough. And it was Westbrook-Ikine. Look at that, Felix.
Nice.
I'm going to go Westbrook-Ikine over 17.5 receiving yards. I think that, look, I've hit the unders on Jalen Lane the last 2 weeks, right?
Yep.
It's a very similar number to that. But if you're going to give me, look at that, 12 routes for Tyreek, 11 for Nick Westbrook-Ikine, there's a decent chance that those correlated to the 23 that Jalen Waddle ran. Westbrook-Ikine could be out there for the entire game. Count me in for NWI. 17.5 receiving yards, more than that. All right. Now your turn, Felix. Who do you got next?
I have under 29.5 rushing yards for RJ Harvey.
RJ Harvey unders. I like that against this Eagles defense here. Are they going to be able to run the ball against this defense? Maybe not very effectively, but also will he even get the chance? You mentioned it in the road game so far, barely touching the rock.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to another one here. Oh, man, that Michael Carter number. Oh, God. 42.5, man, just staring at me in the eyes, screaming, take the under. Take the under. I'm not going to do it. I'll fade him on DFS, but I'm not going to do that. You know what else is staring at me right in the eye here, Phil?
What's that?
Chris Godwin's numbers. I want to hit the under on that, too. I want to hit the unders everywhere.
Do it. Hit it. Hit the under on that one.
Yeah, let's do it. Chris Godwin, under 52.5 receiving yards here. Look, he got 10 targets last game. Didn't do anything with them. Yeah, going to Seattle, I'm going to bank on Chris Godwin still not showing 100% health here. Egbuka takes over. Yeah, I'm going to go under 52.5 on Godwin. All right, Felix, your last one. Who do you got?
Oh, who are we going to go with? Man, the Waddle one just went up on me.
Yeah, I was staring at the Waddle over as well. We already have Westbrook-Ikine though. So.
Yeah, true. He just went up a yard. On the other side of the game, we could go with 64.5 receiving yards over on T-Mac.
I like it. Tet McMillan over 64.5. Little game stack. I love game stacking my pick sixes a little bit with the overs there. I like it. And you know what? We just got to do it because we're already winning 11x or more here, Felix. But I'm feeling the narrative so hard. I'm feeling that narrative really heavy. I'm going to go with our guy, David Montgomery, to score a touchdown in tomorrow's game. That is a 0.8x multiplier. So, again, not the greatest thing in the world, but we still win 19x. If you apply a 30% boost, you get a 30% winnings boost. $50 wins, $1,246.
Seems like a nice little payday.
Can't beat that. It's basically 25x. Really good stuff there. Again, I'll go through it one more time just for the people to know. Garrett Wilson's over receiving yards. Nick Westbrook-Ikine's over receiving yards. RJ Harvey's under rushing. Chris Godwin's under receiving. Tet McMillan over receiving. And then David Montgomery to score a touchdown. All right. Good stuff, Felix. Should be a good week ahead of us. 10 games to kind of look out for. And then we get a Sunday night football game. And only one Monday night game this week. But don't forget, there is a London showdown this week between the Browns and Vikings. The Vikings playing their second consecutive game overseas. I got to say, I think that's a big advantage for them.
Yeah, I think the last time they got whooped the last team that came in there on after having the other team be there, I would bet Vikings to win at least.
And coming off a loss too.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be hungry a little bit. I think that they're going to show out and beat the brakes off a Browns team starting the rookie quarterback Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah. Oh my God, what a terrible place to start. But yeah,
against Brian Flores.
Another Van Ginkel touchdown, maybe defensive touchdown here. We could bet 2 touchdowns even maybe.
I would definitely be down for another Vikings defensive touchdown. Maybe the
Yeah.
AFC North can stay within reach. 7 games wins the division. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not with the way Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers are somehow performing. But
Somehow.
for
Yeah.
Felix and for we appreciate y'all for watching. If one of us doesn't win the millie, we hope it's one of y'all watching. Have a great rest of y'all's day and have a good one. Enjoy the MMA fights tonight.